Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot. This morning I woke up and saw this line and had a massive freak out when I see that the big Well Explorer oscillator it's showing above a ratio of 2, meaning that there are twice as many large wallets at the moment depositing into the exchanges compared to the ones that are withdrawing. And if you've been long enough in the crypto space, you know what that means. It means that either they are planning to sell in the very short term or they are waiting for a specific price to be able to unload their coins. So this video is not meant to freak you out or anything. I'm gonna run you through everything I know so far. This could be completely a fake out signal. We're gonna look into the past performance. We'll check other sources of large inflows from CryptoQuant, and there's also some news about Binance making big moves of Bitcoin. So it could be related to that as well. Stay tuned because we're gonna figure out by the end of the video whether this is worth panicking, it's just a precautionary alert, or if we just can move on and ignore it. We're still below the resistance of the golden ratio multiplier that I published a couple of days ago in a video. So 67.5 is still our resistance. And as I've been shouting in my YouTube shorts, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere, I've been telling you that 74 daily RSI is a resistance. So I'm gonna cover that as well. I'm gonna cover the 4 hour. I'm gonna show you where is the selling wall, how is it progressing, do we have a buying wall below the price? We're gonna cover all of that. In the morning, my first thought was, well, accidentally, maybe I drew this line on top of the chart. So I tried to move it and I noticed that it's all connected to the indicator, and if I hide it goes away with it. So it is what it looks like, and suddenly we had a stratospheric jump from above 1 ratio to over 2. And I'm gonna show you how credible is this move compared to the previous performance. If we look back in time, the last time that you're gonna see that we are above 2, it's around June 2019. More recently, we have on December of 2020, but we couldn't cross above the ratio of 2. So the question is, what happened right after we were above 2 and this time that we just touched the level 2? So let's look at the price. In this area around here, this was pre-halving, and it was just right after we had a run of about 300%. But when we were at around 180%, you can see that the large whales started depositing very aggressively into exchanges. And that's why I say that we do care what the whales are doing, because typically they tend to have a delay effect on the trend. If we are in the red, eventually that reverses the trend. And if we are in the green, those whales can also keep pushing higher the price. This red is something that I always take very seriously. It doesn't guarantee anything, but wouldn't you want to be aware of the large whales, which pretty much represent the people that know what they're doing, at least in theory. The next time we have a very large amounts of deposits from large whales is when we are entering in the last final stage of this bull run around here. My speculation says that probably they started depositing very aggressively here, and then in the next few days during this run of 100%, they must have dumped a lot around here. But there was still too much greed in the market coming from retail and too much leverage, which kept pushing the bull market still higher, but with clear signs of exhaustion. Notice that I say whales tend to know what they have to do, but not always. For example, in areas like a bottom of the 2019 bear market, they are still depositing, and pretty much that means that they are willing to sell at the worst price ever. So it's not like they always get it right. Another example of that is that after the FTX collapse, you also have a spike here to around 1.7, and that also seems like a terrible time to be depositing with the intention of selling. But we will never know if they deposit here and they ended up selling, because also followed by that, there's quite a lot of withdrawals, and that ended up pushing the price higher. So you never know if they actually ended up executing those sell orders. If you focus on the purple area at the bottom of the chart, you can see that we have this spike here in a single day, which is very similar to this area here where we top and we spend roughly 2 to 3 months just going sideways and having a drawdown of around 20%. If we change the time frame of our chart, it's gonna be a lot easier to understand how magnificent is this move to the upside. If we go to the weekly, you're gonna see that we are in the territory of the top of a bull market in terms of deposits. But this is happening literally in a single candle. It was registered a ratio of 135, which is very close to the tops that we have in this market. Could it be that this is just an internal move inside the exchange or something else? Well, let's figure that out. But before we do that, let's also look at the 2 weeks. You can see that in this market, we made it around here. In this bull market, shows that this was the distribution area. And look where we are. We are at a level of 1, which is the highest in history. And all of this triggered in the last day. That is consistent with information from large holders net flows below that also shows a line that reaches 121,000 Bitcoin for net flows. If I expand the outflows and the inflows, you're gonna see that we have an inflow of 133 and the outflows are reaching 12,000. So if you discount those 12,000, that's how you get this net flow here, which is larger than the one we have in April 2023 when we started going sideways. The only times that we reach those 100K in terms of inflows is in 2013 and during 2011. That's 10 years old events. In the whole history of Bitcoin, we haven't had such a large spike. I'm aware that 2 days ago, Binance warned investors that they were going to do some internal transfers. On my Telegram, I saw this message saying unusual exchange outflow. This was for 76,000 Bitcoin, which is over $5 billion. 98% came from Binance. Later on, CryptoQuant said it was an internal transfer according to Binance team. So the only way that this information I'm giving you could be a false alarm is if Into the Block was counting the inflow of those 76,000 Bitcoin from Binance. But in fact, what we have here is 133,000. So it's almost double the amount. And these are inflows. And what CryptoQuant is counting is outflows. If we go to CryptoQuant and we start looking into exchange flows, we can look just into the inflows. And I don't see anything here as significant as previous spikes in inflows. If I look into the net flow, same story. Everything looks normal. You can look into the mean. Nothing there either. Exchange depositing transaction is actually going down. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this piece of information? Do you think that really large whales are currently depositing over 100,000 Bitcoin with the intention to enter a distribution phase? Or do you just think that is a hiccup in coming from the source of information from Into the Block? It will be great if you have any contact in Into the Block that can confirm or discard whether they miscalculated the moves and maybe this was caused by Binance after all. But my responsibility and the goal of my channel is keep you updated on these big pieces of information that can change everything overnight. And if you are holding a large amount of Bitcoin, of course you want to be the first one to learn. If I learn anything in the next few days, the quickest way to know is if you subscribe from my Twitter. The handle is Trading Parrot. Most likely I will publish a short as well and mention it in the next day videos. Also subscribe on YouTube, use the notification bell, and let's continue with the video. In the next part of the video, I'm going to also look into the daily time frame TA and the 4-hour. We are still below resistance, so I want you to stay up to date with that too. In the past few days, the fear and greed index made it to 90. Right after that, we dropped 15 points and now we are at 82. If we look at this channel, we can see that being this extended was calling for some sort of correction from the top of the extreme grid. On the daily, the RSI broke below this trend line on the 4th of March. Since then, I've been telling you that as long as we don't go above the trend line, the momentum could have shifted to the downside, building a channel that could develop somewhere in this area. This doesn't necessarily mean that there is a big pullback. The price could still go just sideways while the RSI daily is resetting. But the point is that as long as we remain in this area below the trend line and we don't break and re-enter above the trend line, we are below resistance. Since then, it's been 2 days, and today we are still below 74. Right now, this is the closest we have been to 74. We are at 73.59, and the price is still being held by 67.5, which is the price I gave you via Twitter in my recent shorts on YouTube. For continuation to the upside in the short term, what's required is to break above 67.5. We had a hive signal on the daily as well, as you can see here in this candle on the 2nd of March. The target was 56.7. We couldn't make it to the full target of the signal. Instead, we only reached 58K. So we could say that half of the target was achieved, which is not bad for such a bullish period of time, where we are not expecting the bearish divergences to play that much. Let's do an update also on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we lost this local support trend line, and then we lost for a little bit the lower support. The price managed to get above it, hold it, and now is in between. We could say that the 4-hour right now is neutral. It can continue around here, it can go to the top and get rejected there, forming a triangle around here. We will see. I'm much more interested to see what happens on the daily right here. This one, I will say, is driving what could come next. On the CPR monthly, we are still constricted between the pivots and the first resistance. Unfortunately, we are 1 week away from closing the month, and to stay bullish, we must at least touch the first resistance, and we still haven't done it. I'm not trying to say that we won't be able to do it, but I find interesting that we were so close to touch it, but we didn't. And the main reason is because at that precise level, there was the all-time high. And of course, all these people trying to short the all-time high as expected. You can see here in the 3-year chart from Material Indicators FAR charts that we have pretty dense selling wall at the all-time high. I'm tempted to say that this is thicker than the selling wall that we have right before the bear market in here. I ignore how FAR charts is deciding that. I'm gonna drop this to 100% so you can see that the square here is still bigger than what we see there. And as I promised yesterday in my YouTube short, I'm gonna keep you updated if there is a buying wall below the price. You can see that there is this buying wall at 52 that we mentioned in the previous videos, and it's been going step by step closer to the price. That is bullish. What is not as bullish is that the closer it gets to the price, is kind of losing volume as well. In here you have 53 million in volume, in here you have 30 million in volume, and right now you have 37 million in volume. On the selling side, we had 66 million in volume when the price hit the all-time high, and right now there's leftover of 54 million. The Bitcoin dominance currently is not looking as bullish as we were seeing earlier this week, where we saw that the breakout candle for this week was pointing up. Right now is pointing down. If we were to close the week like this wouldn't be as bullish as if we close the breakout pointing up. And if we just look at the Bitcoin dominance, you see how strong the rejections are. On this rejection, for example, we went above it, we print this inverse doji, and then right after that, we came to visit 51%. So if we were to close the week like this, that means that we are below the resistance with 2 massive weeks to the upside that could take down the dominance to this previous range around here from 50 to 53%. As long as Bitcoin is not dumping during this period, that could be the perfect opportunity to trade alts. But of course, if by the end of the week this is pointing up, that most likely will come with a green candle finally conquering this level of resistance. That will suggest that there is a higher chance that we are targeting 57-58% dominance. Guys, if you want to trade any of these opportunities, have a look at the description. I have a link with an event to OKX. You can win prizes from pool, for example, a MacBook Pro M3, iPad, Apple Watch, or even USDT. Just have a look at the link in the description. And if you are interested in running trading bots, I have plenty of bots that you can use for copy trading. It's as simple as just picking which ones you like the most. You do not need a TTP subscription to be able to copy trade these bots. If you are a VIP member of the TTP community, you can claim in my Discord server, talk to a member of my team, and they will reduce the success fees for you to the minimum. A new way that you can also achieve to get the success fees reduced to the minimum is if you are holding Trading Parrot's NFT items. All the instructions on how to do this and how to copy the trading bots, you can find them in the link in the description called Copy Trading Bots. In terms of performance, Messenger and Aphrodita have been doing pretty great. Moonriver yesterday took a big hit. Remember that a few days ago we were at 16% in profits for the month, but unfortunately with the volatility, one of the longs got hit with a stop loss. This Moonriver is one of the riskier bots. If you want to experience less ups and downs, I suggest that you pick the more conservative bots. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.